Welcome to this week's edition of Dugout Dish in the Clubhouse with EMD Baseball. I'm Andy Kirikides, joined by my co-host, Coach Glasser. Coach, how we doing?
Great. How are you?
Good. Got another quick topic for this week, one that we've touched on a bunch, that coaches that we have interviewed, which there have been many, have made a point to emphasize why this is important. And the topic is strength and conditioning, the importance of the weight room and how it translates not only to development, but also getting yourself ready for college baseball. So I'm going to kick it off to you for us to get started.
Sure. The importance of the weight room nowadays is grown tremendously over the last 5, 6, 7 years. I think, when you and I went through this process years ago, there wasn't a whole hell of a lot of lifting going on at the high school level, maybe during football season and such. But I think we kind of grew up in the era of like, don't get too big, it's going to affect your arm and blah, 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 blah. And I think we have a lot more science behind things, and the weight room actually helps reduce injuries. It makes you stronger. When you get more physical, you can, the baseball season, especially at the college level, is a very long, taxing season on your body. You're going to get beat up, you're going to get dinged. The more physical you are, the more you're able to handle those things, the more success you can, maintain over the course of the season. I remember when we played, I played around 210. By the end of the season, I was like 195. You lost a good 15, 20 pounds over the course of the season. And that's still lifting and doing things. It's just, there's a lot that goes on. So the kind of the bigger, the faster, the stronger that you can get, not only is it going to help you on the field, it's going to help you off the field as well. You're going to be able to stay on the field more. You're not going to be as dinged up. You can handle those things. And it's amazing what happens when the more time and energy you put into the weight room, you start seeing that translate on the field as to how good you can actually be. You start hitting balls harder, you start hitting balls further. A lot of those things, you throw balls harder, you can get off the ball a little bit more, you're a little bit quicker. So there's a lot of things that go into, you being in the weight room that the benefits far outweigh the negatives. And I think that we're starting to see that, and we're starting seeing this happen at a younger level or at younger ages, to where kids are now getting to college and they're a lot more physical. I've said this on here before, like kids are a lot more physical now getting to college than they have been in the past. And it's only going to continue that movement's going to continue for the foreseeable future. Guys who are going to be working out and in shape when they get to college so that they are further along than they ever have been in the past. And I'm here for it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I think you hit on a couple really important things. The thing that sticks out to me is that not only there's two parts of it. One is using the weight room as a development tool right now if you're a high school guy, right? Like if you're 15 or 16 or 17 years old, if you want to get better, if you want to become a better hitter, if you want to become a better thrower, if you want to become a better fielder, the strength and conditioning component plays a big role in it. And increasing athleticism, being able to move quicker, being more stable in your movements. Half the time, most swing adjustments can be made, but a lot of them can't be made until you're strong enough to actually make the adjustment. And I think that that's a big piece of development, right? It's the strength and conditioning piece. But if you're looking at it from another perspective, it used to be, to your point, it used to be that you learn how to lift weights when you get to college. At least that's how it was for me and you. Like I wasn't really in a weight room anything substantial until the freshman year of college. Now you need to get ahead of the learning curve. You need to be physical enough and have experience in the weight room when you get to college. It's not good enough to figure it out when you get there. So you need to stack the chips in your favor with regards to that. If you're somebody who is looking to play college baseball at any level, you need to be prepared for what they're going to require of you from a weight room perspective. The other piece is if you want to separate yourself in the recruiting process, one of the best ways to do it is look good in a uniform and be strong and be athletic. And a lot of that has to do, some of it's certainly genetics. Like not everybody's 6'3", 185 and, with a high waist and all that good stuff. But coaches can tell pretty immediately how important the weight room is to you. And being big and being fast and being strong and being able to throw things hard and hit things far, it does not make you a great baseball player, but it certainly doesn't hurt you, right? Like you still got to do the finer points of the game, but there's a reason that the guys you see on television look a certain way. There's a reason that when you turned on the Division I College World Series this year, that the average weight of Wake Forest and Florida and LSU was 210 pounds. Like that's not by mistake. It's because the biggest, fastest, strongest guys have the easiest time transitioning to play at that level. And regardless of what level you play at, if you can step on campus in really good physical shape, your transition to the college games is going to be much easier. And for high school guys out there, if you're not taking November through March really seriously in the strength and conditioning compartment, you're not doing yourself any favors when it comes to getting evaluated and getting recruited, because the guy who has a similar skill set as you, who wants to get after it 4 or 5 days a week in the weight room and stretch and focus on movement, focus on strength, that guy's going to pass you. And if you're not getting recruited now, you better do what's needed to get recruited in the spring and summer if you're 2025. And I think the weight room's one of the biggest shortcuts that you can take, right? Like it's one of the biggest cheat codes is get your body in shape, move better, move faster, move quicker. And a lot of your baseball skills will improve just because you got stronger, right? Like you're going to be able to throw a ball harder. You're going to be able to deliver the barrel more accurately because you're strong enough to actually get the barrel to go where you want it to go. I don't think it can be overstated. Everybody we've had on this podcast, and I'm sure every coach that we speak to in the future is going to say the same thing, that one of the steepest learning curves for high school kids is the physicality and the speed of the game. And those are strongly linked.
Yeah. I think the other part of it too is especially for younger kids, the amount of questions that I've gotten over the years of like, how do I throw the ball harder? And there's a lot of different ways, right? But like eventually it comes down to the fact of like, had a 14-year-old ask, like, and you're 5'7" and 135 pounds. Like there's a limit to how hard you can actually throw the ball, right? Like it's just, it is what it is right now, but as you get older and you mature and you get in the weight room, like the more you start moving heavy things, the harder you can throw those baseballs. So I think that it's something that needs to be said and needs to have that stigma, especially around the older coaches, about like, it's going to make you stiff and you can't throw. Like, no, like get in the weight room. It will make you more physical. You'll be able to do more things that you haven't been able to do in the past. And you'll be amazed at how much just taking the, hour 4 times a week in the weight room, how much that actually transforms what you're seeing your capabilities on the field are. So and I think, we're between the college and the pro coaches we've had on here. Like, I mean, the guys are lifting pregame. It's not something that they're like, it's not like, well, we don't lift before we play. Like, no, guys are in the weight room days of games. Obviously it might be a little modified if you're the starting pitcher that night. But for the most part, like, hey, we're going to get after in the weight room on game days. That it's not like we don't slow down. Sure, like, do things get modified and tailored based off of where we are in the season? Like, yeah, we're probably not, we're not maxing out bench press on, game 56. But, we're still going to be working out and doing things over the course of the season to make sure that we're maintaining and we're still keeping injuries down while also being able to stay strong and keep everything it is that we need to do during the season so that we're just as physical as we get towards the end of the year. So it's, Like it's far different than it was 15, 20 years ago when we played, and it'll be different again in 5, 10 years. I think that the science and the things behind this are only going to continue to get better. And I think the idea that, you shouldn't necessarily be in there, especially surrounding a baseball, the baseball world is patently false now. It's been proven patently false. Like, go look at the best players in the world. They're, Ohtani is huge. Mike Trout, huge. Those dudes are physical dudes, and it's not a mistake. They're really good and they're really physical. So get in the weight room and get after it.
One thing I had, you mentioned it, but I think I want to kind of quote unquote foot stop this, is that injury prevention is a part of this, right? And being strong and being mobile and being physically prepared to endure a season that is a lot more taxing than people give it credit for is huge. And high school guys, we all see them break down. They get to mid-August, and the guys who were 85 to 87 or 80 to 84, and it's because they probably didn't lift and they probably didn't maintain the structure they had in the offseason. That in-season maintenance, that in-season movement and strength and conditioning stuff, it's really important. So if you're a high school guy, we're going into the offseason, like, if you don't have a plan in place, you need to get one. If you do have a plan in place, you need to get after it and use this time to get as big and fast and strong as you can, so that when you get out in the spring, you have a chance to put your best foot forward. Anything else you want to add, Coach?
No, nailed it.
All right. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe and like buttons.
Smash,
throttle. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter at EMD Baseball if you want to find out what we do to help families and student athletes in the recruiting process. With the 25 years of experience coaching college that we have, go to emdbaseball.com. We will catch you next week. Thanks, everybody.